Hello again, my AP Econners, back to go over this time the micro Unit 2 review questions. So hopefully if there are any of these that you struggled with or still had some concerns about going through this, if anything gives you the answers, but also helps explain and answer some of those questions for you. So let's get to it. Number one, according to the law of demand, an increase in the price. Let me stop you right there. We all know that changing the price does not change demand. It does not shift the demand curve. It will change or move along a demand curve, which is called the change in quantity demanded. And I know you guys love those semantics, but bottom line is if the price of grape juice goes up, people will buy less of it, and that sounds like D, a decrease in the quantity of grape juice demanded. Number two, a monopolist is producing two goods, X and Y. Demand for good X is currently price elastic. Well, remember our total revenue test. When demand is elastic, do you want the higher or the lower price? That's right, the lower price. So with good X, they're going to want to decrease the price because decreasing it increases your revenue. And then, of course, with good Y, it is price inelastic. When it's inelastic, you want the higher price. So you want the price of X to go down, Y to increase, and we have letter D. All right, number three, on the basis of the graph above, which of the following statements concerning changes in the demand for and supply of tomatoes is correct? Without going through every single one, we got letter E. If demand increases, it definitely makes price of tomatoes go up. And if supply decreases, it also makes the price of tomatoes go up. So the two of those together will certainly do that. Okay, quantity, we don't know. That's the variable, but price definitely going up. All right, let's look at number four. The graph above shows supply and demand for gasoline. If the government puts a price ceiling at 120, guess what? Not a problem, because as a price ceiling, it means you can't go above it, but you can still get to equilibrium. If we're at equilibrium, number four, letter E, is no shortage or surplus, no issues. Okay, so number four is E. Number five, we got this information here with marginal utility, and what it's asking for is the total utility of two pizzas and two pens. Okay, they give you the marginal. Marginal means additional, so you just have to add them all up. First pizza gets you 20 utils, second one gets you 18, plus the first pen, which is 8 utils, and the second one, which is 7. Add all of those up, and it should equal E, 53 utils. Number 5 is E. All right, let's look at number 6. Consumers consider popcorn and pretzels to be substitutes. If there's a decrease in the supply of popcorn, that's going to make the price of popcorn go up. Guess what? Nobody's buying popcorn anymore. They would rather buy pretzels, and so that's going to increase the demand for pretzels, letter B, and make the price of pretzels go up, because that's what happens when demand goes up, price goes up. All right, number 7, the demand for good Y increases as the price of good X decreases. So bottom line is price of X goes down, you're buying a greater quantity of X because it's cheaper. You're also buying more of Y because Y must go along with X, and we call those complements. Okay, so letter B for number 7. Number 8, demand for potatoes increases when a person's income increases. That must be a normal good. Okay, so income goes up, you buy more, that's a normal good. By the way, there is such a thing, well, it's a theory, a thing called a Giffen good. That wasn't just made up. We didn't talk about it because it's not something that's going to show up, but it's an interesting concept. If you're ever curious, ask me about it, I'll be glad to tell you. Anyway, number 9, government imposes a tax on the production of cars. That's going to increase the marginal cost of producing cars, making supply shift to the left, or supply is going to decrease, is another way of saying that. Number 10, you got the graph here. Okay, so total economic surplus, well, consumer surplus is this triangle up here. Producer surplus is this triangle down here. So total surplus is the entire area, so FGH, IJK, or whatever order they put them in. That was actually the order, letter D. Okay, so number 10 is letter D. All right, number 11, ice cream is a normal good. If the price of ice cream decreases, in other words, ice cream is cheaper, how does that affect factor into the substitution effect and the income effect? Well, the substitution effect is going to increase because ice cream becomes a more attractive alternative. It's also going to increase the income effect because if ice cream is cheaper, your money goes further. You can buy more things or more ice cream or whatever, and so letter B, both income and substitution effect will increase. All right, number 12, a store raises its price by 20% and revenues go up. So we can stop right there and we would know that demand must be inelastic. You raise the price, revenues go up, demand is inelastic. It's not perfectly inelastic though because revenue did not increase by the same amount, so it's just got to be regular old elastic. All right, number 13, in a perfectly competitive market, which of the following shifts in supply and demand will definitely cause price and quantity to decrease? Well, there's only one thing that definitely causes both price and quantity to decrease, and that's if demand decreases and supply does nothing. Because if supply shifts, it could change either price or quantity depending on the shift. So the only thing that's going to make that happen for certain is letter E. No change in the supply curve and a leftward shift of the demand curve. All right, so look at number 14 here. We got the market in equilibrium. So they set the price floor here at X. Okay, how does that change quantity demanded? Well, at the original price of Y, quantity demanded was S. At the new price of X, quantity demanded is R. So we go from S to R, and that looks a lot like letter C to me. So number 14 is letter C. All right, number 15. I love the way they word this. Let me make a long story very short for you. Bottom line is this. We know the utility maximization rule. The margin utility per dollar, margin utility divided by the price, which is margin utility per dollar of both products must be the same. Which of these funky formulas fits that model? Letter D. Okay, take the margin utility of X divided by the price of X. It should equal the margin utility of Y divided by the price of Y. So number 15 is D. All right, number 16, which of the following occurs as a result of the substitution effect of an increase in the price of a normal good? Okay, so best answer here is E. If the price of a normal good goes up, the quantity demanded of that good decreases. Again, we wouldn't say the demand decreases because it was just a price change in that good. Okay, price change caused change in quantity demanded, kind of like we did with number 1. All right, number 17, which of the following will cause the demand for a normal good to increase? Okay, so you look at all these, best answer here is B. If the price of a complement goes down, you're going to buy more of the thing that goes with it, and so that would cause demand to increase, like it indicates there. All right, so 17 is B. Number 18, for an inferior good, an increase in consumer income, you're not going to buy it anymore, and that's A, going to shift the demand curve to the left. So number 18 is A. Number 19, in the short run, a decrease in production costs of a product will shift the supply curve to the right. If you lower the marginal cost, supply increases because you can make more, and so supply shifts to the right. All right, we got the nice little graph here for number 20. So in a competition equilibrium, I think it's supposed to say competitive market, maybe that's a typo, but equilibrium, consumer surplus is the area of this triangle right here, which is W, Y, and Z. That looks like answer B, so number 20 is B. All right, number 20, all the following cause a rightward shift in demand for a normal good except, of course, letter A, the price of the good never changes demand, only moves us along a demand curve, we know that. Number 22, which of the following must be true if the revenues of wheat farmers increase when the price goes up? Well, again, price goes up. If revenues go up, demand must be inelastic. Okay, so that would be letter E. The demand for wheat is price inelastic, is another way of saying that. All right, number 23, assume popcorn and movie attendance are complements. In other words, people go to the movies, they get popcorn. Salty concession grows corn suitable for popping. What is going to allow Mr. Concession, I guess his first name is Salty, to sell a greater amount of popcorn at a higher price? Well, what makes quantity and price go up? An increase in demand. Which of these would increase the demand for popcorn? Well, the best answer here is letter D. If there's 3 summer movies that everyone's going to see, while they're going to see more movies, there's going to be a greater demand for popcorn, and price and quantity can both increase. All right, 24, which of the following is true in the market for a certain product if producers are consistently willing to sell more at the going price than consumers are willing to buy? That has to be a price floor. Okay, so the idea here is pretty simple. Supply demand. If you have a price floor that's too high, the supply is going to exceed the demand. That's kind of what it's saying, so there's got to be a price floor, letter E. And lastly, assume that a consumer spends all her income on two goods. If the consumer's income doubles and the price of the two goods also double, guess what? Ain't nothing gonna change, because margin utility per dollar is gonna be exactly the same as it was before, and so D, there's gonna be no change in what this person is doing. And there you go. I hope that helped. And as always, if you have any questions about them, ones you didn't understand, shoot me a text or a message or an email. I'd be glad to help you out. And otherwise, there you go. Until next time.